Well, hello everybody. Marcus here, and welcome to another show. So today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about cameras for a change, and we're going to go down the technical route. We're going to be talking about the DSLR versus the mirrorless camera. Now, of course, I can't do this on my own. I've got help with in the shape of Paul Wilcox. Paul, hello. How are you doing?
Hello, Marcus. I'm very well, thank you. It's great to be on the show.
Oh, thanks, Paul. I know you're a regular listener, and we've hooked up before in the past. So yeah, it's great to have you on here. So I'm going to be in the camp of the DSLR because I'm a DSLR user. Paul, you're going to be in the camp of the mirrorless.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So it's a bit of a debate, and it's a popular one, isn't it? When the pros and cons, and I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. I think I'm going to lose this debate because obviously, with technology, the newer it is, the better it's going to be. Newer computers are better. Newer phones, cameras, newer phones are better. Blah blah blah. But hopefully, I'll be able to hold my own. You feeling confident, Paul?
I am. I'm interested to see your points of view and your argument. Bearing in mind, I am a former DSLR user, so
Yes.
and
Yes.
I do have a soft spot for the cameras that I still own, although I
Yes.
don't
Okay.
use anymore.
So let's first of all start off with a little bit of what actually is the difference between the two, between the DSLR and the mirrorless. It's basically just really there's just one difference, and it's they've got rid the manufacturers got rid of the mirror, the prism on the top of the camera. For people on YouTube, be able to see I'm holding up an old-fashioned camera here, and this bit at the top is where the prism and what it basically does, it turns the image upside down. That's the main fundamental difference, I think, Paul, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is, but when they removed the mirror on a DSLR, they also removed the autofocus sensor. So with the DSLR, there's two sensors, and I'm talking generically now.
Right.
So when you're looking through your DSLR and you're focusing on a subject, you're using the a smaller autofocus sensor, and then when you hit the shutter button, the mirror lifts up and the image is
Yes.
recorded on the main
Right.
sensor. So basically, you've got two systems. And when the mirrorless cameras were invented, basically the autofocus sensor and the mirror taken out, so the focusing and the image recording on a mirrorless camera is just completed on one sensor. And
Paul,
you can
that is
see there's all
exactly right.
sorts of advantages
Yes,
with
which
that.
we're going to go into
Yeah,
and disadvantages as well. But of course, it's not. It's the idea. I was thinking about the history of cameras, and it's not a new thing. A mirrorless camera. In the fact that there's no mirror, because if you cast your mind back to the original cameras, the plate cameras, the big 10-8 ones or whatever, with the big bellows, you look directly through the screen, the glass screen, and the image would be upside down.
right.
Have you ever tried one of those cameras,
I,
Paul?
I've never, I've only ever seen it being used on YouTube. I've never had the opportunity to ever go myself.
Well, people still use them, even though they're very
Yes, yes,
expensive to use.
yeah.
But the quality is supreme. And they were called technical cameras because you could actually bend light with it. With the bellows, they were
Right.
amazing things. You could bend, you could foreshorten the perspective and do all sorts of amazing things with them. So that was type of mirrorless. And then I thought also about the rangefinder cameras, like the Leica, for example, the original
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
That had no. Am I correct in saying that had no mirror in it? I guess I should have done a bit more research first, but
It wouldn't have a mirror, would it?
no,
Because you're not actually looking through the lens
exactly,
when you're setting that shot up. You're
exactly,
looking through the rangefinder. So yeah,
exactly. And the advantage of that Leica camera was that it was very small,
yeah,
and that's why
yeah,
people love the
yeah,
mirrorless ones because they're very small. They don't need that prism on top. So I
yeah.
just thought I'd just put a little history there just to say it's not a completely new thing, but nevertheless, though, it has revolutionised the industry.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
okay, let's get our cameras on the table, as it were. What do you shoot on then, Paul?
So I have two mirrorless cameras. My primary camera is a Canon R6 Mark II,
Oh, very nice.
and my backup camera is a Canon R. The Canon R was the first version mirrorless camera that Canon did, and it's like it's like a 5D Mark IV, but a mirrorless version of the 5D Mark IV.
Right.
And so that's my backup camera. It only has the Canon R only has one slot, one card slot, whereas the R6 has two, and
Oh,
that's
that's
why it's my
interesting.
main camera.
Yeah, that's quite important. Even though I must admit I've never needed it. Touch wood. I'm touching wood all over the
Touch
place.
wood. Me
It
too.
is,
Never
it
needed
is
it.
one of those
Nice to have that
things, isn't it?
redundancy.
Yeah, it's nice to have that
nice to have
redundancy.
that
Exactly
redundancy.
right. Okay, so those are that's a really high end, very nice camera. I shoot on the Nikon D850.
Okay.
Which is a real beast.
It's a chunk of camera, that is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But still being made, I believe. I was going to check it out, but I do believe they are still being manufactured.
Oh,
which
right.
is quite
Okay.
surprising. The Canon don't do the
The 5D Mark IV, I believe, has stopped being made now.
Yeah.
I would never get rid of this camera. It's I've had it 6
You've
years
got one.
now.
You've got one there.
I've
So
got,
just for the people who
yeah,
don't
my
know.
5D Mark IV. I've had it 6 years. It feels so good in the hand because I like it. I like the big camera. It feels so good in the hand. But the primary reason why I wanted to move away from this, and it stems down to my lens choice. So, and I don't know whether you can relate to this, being a Nikon user, but my 24-70L lens was always a bit soft. No matter what I did, it was always a bit soft. So it required me to make the micro adjustments within the body of the camera. I don't know whether you can do that on Nikon, but you can set the camera up with a chart, and then you can make the micro adjustments, because there's slight intolerances between the autofocus sensor and the image capture sensor. So what that could result in, if they are very small fractions, if they're slightly out, it could mean you have front or back focus errors. So with that in mind, I could never, for my work, my clients would never see it, but when I'm editing, I could just see that slight softness. When I use the same lens on any of my mirrorless cameras, I don't have that issue. There's no
it focuses internally. It focuses internally, for want of a better word, doesn't it?
Because so the focus is happening on the same sensor as the image is being captured. And so there's no intolerances. There's no second system it's fighting against. So it gives me that sharper. Image with that lens. And when I realised this, I was sold, and it was then just a matter of time of when I was going to start to move to Canon. And because I've got a load of Canon lenses, it just made sense that I stuck with Canon. With the various adapters, I could still use all my legacy lenses.
Exactly.
And they work.
Exactly. Yeah, so you've touched on a few points there, Paul. Let's go first. Let's start off with you're talking about the feel of the camera. And one of those in the sales blurb, a lot of the things quoted about mirrorless cameras, the advantage is that they're smaller. But I would not necessarily say that smaller is best. If I can just give an analogy here, Paul, do you play music at all? Are you a musician?
Yeah, I played. So I played guitar and I played clarinet.
Oh, okay.
In my time,
two different. Let's go to the guitar. I don't know much about clarinets. Now, as far as size goes, you do get different sized necks on guitars, and
Yes.
in my world, which is the bass world, there's basically two
Okay.
types of neck you get on the guitar. The bass guitar, you get
Yeah.
the precision one, which is quite
Yeah.
wide, and you get the
Yeah.
jazz neck, which is very
Yeah.
narrow.
Yeah.
Um, Now, so you think, well, obviously the narrow one is better, isn't it? Because it's going to be faster in the. And I've got small hands, so I would favour that. But I also have on my another guitar, two basses, and one is the wider neck. And even though it feels different to play with the wider neck, it makes me play in a different way.
Yes, absolutely. And you see that with classical guitars that have a very wide neck
Yes,
compared
that's right.
to acoustic guitars, which have that narrow neck.
Narrow neck.
And when you're swapping between the two, it can become a little bit of a problem with muscle memory because your strings are closer together as
Exactly.
opposed to whereas a classical guitar they're a bit further apart. And
Yes.
it's the same with a big chunky body like your 850 or my 5D Mark IV. Although I always try and match and customize my cameras where the buttons are roughly in the same place, they are close together on a mirrorless camera, and that can be a problem. I always believe that when using your camera, you should be able to subconsciously know exactly where any button is and what any
Agreed.
button
Oh,
or dial
100%.
will do,
Yes.
and you know it subconsciously because you're either posing or creating a scene, and you're looking through your viewfinder, and you know instinctively by pushing a button or turning a dial, you're going to get the right setting. You don't want to have to be pulling the camera away from your face
Yeah, exactly.
and
That's really
having to look what
important.
you're doing. And
Really important.
with the buttons being quite close together, there is a tendency where I've pushed the wrong button just because I've got thick fingers,
Yeah.
So I will give you that one. I will give you that one.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of students come in who have bought mirrorless cameras and they just find them too small for their hand to just the feel of them. I get it. I get it. You think, oh, if it's gonna be small, I can carry it around with me. But look, photography, you got to be. If you want to take a good photograph, you got to be committed to it. You got to be committed to the cause. You got to go out there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, size is one of the things that you need to deal with. You know, with it be with lenses or possibly cameras. So yeah. Okay. So the size thing is not such a. It could be. Are we going to give that one to me? Or are we going to give that one to you? We're going to give that one to me.
I'm happy to give that to you, Marcus. In fairness, because for me, there's going to be a load of your listeners who are female who may be shouting at me now, saying that, well, I've got small hands, and a mirrorless camera would far better suit me. But for me personally, I love the feel of my 5D Mark IV, but I understand that it would be nicer to have my controls of my R6 slightly a bit further apart, and I appreciate why that's not the case.
Yes. Okay.
However, on just a slightly related issue is, if I've been walking around an event for 8 hours and I've got the 5D Mark IV paired up with a 70 to 200 lens, I feel it on my neck.
Yeah,
because it's heavier.
I'm with that, and I'm a recent convert to the zoom lens, well, the 70 to 200, and I must admit I'm shocked at how much they weigh. It's like, oh my god, I've got to carry. But there you go. Okay, so the second thing you talked about was the focusing abilities of the mirrorless camera. Now, look, I've got to say, I'm just going to go and say you've won there, Paul, because that is the biggest appeal to me about with the mirrorless camera is the way they quickly focus, and their eye focusing as well. As I get older and older, fantastic. My eyes are going. It's the eye focusing is brilliant.
Yeah. So going back again to the 5D Mark IV, the amount of individual focusing areas that I can
32
use,
or something. 32.
I think it's more like 60-ish for the Canon, but when you look at what a mirrorless camera has, it's a couple
It's
of hundred.
limited. Yeah,
But I don't have to worry about that. So when I'm doing headshots and I've got a person, we work around 180 degrees. So they're looking at me like this, and this eye's closest to me. So I can program on a button that I want this eye to be the
yeah,
sharpest.
yeah, yeah,
Then they
yeah,
look at me straight on, and
yeah,
I can then decide which eye I want to be focused, sharpest. And then they look at me like this, and then I can switch another button, and it happens so quickly, and the camera just recognizes it, just
yeah,
gets
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's sharp.
yeah, yeah.
And if I'm working tethered or working using the back of the screen, I can see exactly where the camera's focused on which eye, and it is just
Yeah,
dreamy,
but just
fantastic.
for argument's sake, Paul, and I shoot everything well. I mentioned on the head of the show that we both shoot very similar type of things, and with branding, and when I'm shooting tethered, you're not shooting really quickly, and the focusing is maybe not if you're doing an event or a wedding, I can really see how the eye focusing is really going to come into it. Because when I'm shooting with tethered, I slow down quite a bit, and if I'm doing still life or whatever, the focusing isn't quite so critical there as an argument.
Yeah, I would
The speed of the
yes, with
focusing.
fast moving stuff, but you know what? I'm a you take the luxury away from a photo shoot. I spend most of my time working with small businesses, and working in small areas and
Right.
cramped areas. So quite
Yes.
often I'm shooting from the hip, and I'm having to pull out the articulated screen, and I might not
Oh,
even
I
have to
see.
be able to get the camera. It might be an arm's length
Yeah.
away from me, but as long as I can see the screen from my
Yeah.
position, I know that I'm able to
Yeah.
focus the focus point and get it on an eye and
Yeah,
get it on one of
I
their
can definitely
eyes.
see how that works. Definitely, no, I think it's a clear winner. The focusing, and the reason why they focus better is basically because it's focusing straight on the sensor, as we said earlier.
On
It's not
the
having
on
to
the
go
sensor
through.
that's capturing the image.
It's not having to go through
Yeah,
the mirror to invert it or whatever it does.
yeah.
So yeah, it's basics, but it does work very well. Um, I definitely give that one to the focusing. I mean, when I look at my Hasselblad cameras and my film cameras, and I was younger then. I couldn't even focus them now. I can't even see. It's like wow, I could not do manual focusing nowadays. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know whether you want to discuss this, but manual focusing with a mirrorless camera is also, if you've got that time, it's also incredibly dreamy to do, incredibly easy to do, because on mirrorless cameras you have what they call focus peaking.
Yeah, well, you do get that on the
So,
DSLRs as well. Oh, I see the where you get a little graph or a little indication.
so as you're
Yeah, yeah.
looking through
Oh,
your
sorry.
viewfinder, your ribbon of focus, your depth of field gets in my case it's red. It gets a red fringing. So if you're working with a narrow depth of field, and you, depending on where you focus, you can that fringing around
Gotcha.
your
That's interesting.
subject, you can place that fringing anywhere as you
Right.
manually focus, and
Interesting.
you know exactly where the fringing is. It's called focus peaking. That is exactly where your that's exactly where your camera's pointed, and you know you're focused perfectly.
Perfect.
And I think that would work quite well, especially because these cameras are really good. They're hybrid cameras, and the video quality is very good as well. So if you wanted to do use manual focus for video as well, depending on the type of scene you're videoing, and it has other things as well built in there for manual focus, which just make it
Yeah,
incredibly
that's
easy.
very good. It's very. Okay, let's move on to price. Price.
Okay.
So, well, you've already mentioned as a professional photographer, you need two cameras. You need a backup. So
Yeah.
just bear that in mind when we're talking about price of camera. So the R6, a mirrorless camera, like a top end Nikon, you're looking around about £3,000, aren't you? I think for the body,
Yeah.
a single body.
My camera's now being superseded by the Mark III, and I I'm I'm led to believe that that camera now is in the ballpark of the high 2000s. Yeah, just
Yes,
for the body.
yes. Okay, and you
Um,
and you need two body. If you're going to go into professional photography, you need two bodies. So just bear that in mind as well. Anybody
yeah.
thinking
So
of investing in that system.
the off the top of the press, the cheapest in the UK for UK stock, £2,800 just for a
Mm,
body for a Mark
mm.
III.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
And you would need two cameras. You never want to be on a photo shoot and you drop your camera and
Oh
you
God,
can't carry on anymore. You
no,
know,
no, it's
you got to
difficult.
be able to carry on, haven't you? It's not the client's problem; it's your problem. So you need to pull a camera out. And I'll be honest with you. I will go to most shoots with three cameras now. The 5D still
Oh,
comes with
brilliant.
me, but it's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
third camera.
Gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
it's
Okay.
it's one of those sort of crap moments. Everything's gone wrong,
Yeah, I get it.
and
So, okay.
you
Sorry to interrupt. Paul. I was
it's
just a
okay.
little bit aware of the time. That's a little bit aware of the time. And so, with price as a DSLR, and I know this because I've had loads of 4 or 5 of my students this year have bought. I recommend they go and buy either the Canon um, EOS Canon 5D Mark III or the Mark IV, and I know you can get the Mark III for around about a really good Nick one for about £550.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Mark IV maybe £600, and when you consider that camera was 5, 6, 7 years ago was being used for
Yeah.
billboard campaigns, was the
Yeah.
top end of the. And really, if you put an image from a modern camera, a mirrorless one, against the side of a Canon, a DSLR, you really wouldn't be able to tell the difference that much. I don't think, certainly not
No.
on a phone or how you view it.
No.
So
I agree.
you're saving a load of money there, and so if you can get let's say a Nikon, I don't know, the 750 or the 6. I don't know. All these numbers to my head in, really. I'll be honest, but a Nikon equivalent or a Canon equivalent, £600, £500, and you get a lens like a 1.4 50mm lens for £100, £150. You've got a top of the range camera there, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah. Yeah. And I know photographers in Cheshire, where I'm from, who use Nikon 750s, D750s,
Yep.
and they swear by them.
Well, I use it, Paul. I
Absolutely
use my
swear by them.
850. The 850 is supposed to be the best camera ever made.
Yeah, but I suppose Marcus, if you put your
Oh, the gloves are off.
850 into live view mode, which you must be able to do,
Yes.
into a live view mode where
Yes.
you're
Yes.
looking at the
Yes.
subject through the
Yes.
LCD. Effectively, you've got a mirrorless camera.
Mirrorless camera, exactly right. That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
I used to. Don't look. I'm not a luddite here. I had a mirrorless camera, the Fuji X100, back in 2012, and I bought it to go on this cycling trip that I did in the Himalayas, and it was just
Right.
perfect for that. It had a fixed lens.
Yes.
It was small and all that, but I didn't
Yes.
really like it. And I think in those early iterations, that it was the viewfinder that put me off. The electronic viewfinder. I just
Oh,
really
yes.
couldn't get to grips with it, or
They've
it just
been
didn't seem very
massively
real.
improved now. You must. I don't know whether you've ever been photographing a subject in bright light and you're trying to look at your feedback on the back of your camera and you're struggling. Whereas,
Oh yes, that's so
to be
true.
able to review your images as well as your image and histogram inside your viewfinder is,
Yeah,
as I
I get it.
can with my
Yeah.
mirrorless cameras, is fantastic.
What's it like looking through the electronic viewfinder, Paul? Is it really, really just you couldn't tell the difference between that and an optical viewfinder?
There
Really that
is
good?
a small bit of lag if you're, especially with depending on the quality and the amount of money you've paid for your camera. There can be a small bit of lag because effectively it's like a movie camera. It's a it's a video stream of what you're seeing, So there can be a bit of lag. I have noticed that more so with my R rather than my the R6.
Gotcha. It's a bit
But
older. It's a
what,
little bit older. Yes.
yeah, but what you do get compared to a DSLR is so much information, and this is all customizable. But you get so much information either on the back of the screen, on the bigger screen, or through the electronic viewfinder. So, for argument's sake, you can have a live histogram. So, if you are a photographer that really relies on a histogram rather than your exposure meter, then it's absolutely fantastic. You know, you can always shoot to the right or shoot to the left, and make sure that you're not getting any blocky blacks or burnt out whites.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but sometimes too much information, Paul. That's maybe another argument for another time. But okay, so I'm gonna give myself. No, you can have, I want the. I'm gonna win in the prize one. That's for sure. Okay. One last thing that you would. We got a few minutes, Paul. I've got a few things here. What do you think? What's another defense that you want to go for the mirrorless camera that you think another advantage of it is?
Well, there is another facility which I don't know whether would be good for you, but you can shoot silently.
Oh,
so
that's right.
Imagine at a wedding, and you're in a church, and it's all quiet, and you get into that really romantic part where the vicar will say, "And you may kiss the bride," and all you can hear is click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Whereas with silent shutter, you can.
Yeah.
No one knows you're there.
No, that is. I must admit, you've got a good one there. Okay, that is it. Okay, I think that's 2-2. That is 2-2. We're gonna leave that.
I would have said 3-1, but
no, please went 3-1. No, how dare you? If you review back to the program, what's the ISO like? I know it's very hard to talk about ISO. It's all very subjective.
The ISO, the noise reducing capabilities are fantastic. Okay. So I was shooting an event yesterday. I couldn't use flash. The event was in a golf club, and it was lit by normal fluorescent lighting. Sure. And I was shooting anywhere between 16,000 and 32,000 ISO. I had to make sure that people were captured sharply. But it's the images do appear noisy. But then once you've put them through Lightroom with a bit of 50% denoise, they're very usable.
That takes forever. I don't know. I mean, Paul, that's a very low figure. I mean, I shoot events, and when it's dark, obviously, at 12,800, mate, and I just whack it there, and it's, with a 12,800, and I'm at what? Maybe shutter speed 1/25th with a longer lens, with VR on it. I mean, and I look at my files, and they're fine. I wouldn't denoise them. I think
I was shooting at 32,000 though. 32,000.
Oh, I see. Okay, not 3,200.
Yeah, not 3,200.
Okay.
32,000. So
okay, I get it. Okay, I see. In that case, you bloody sneak one in there, mate. You got a 3. You beat me with a 3-2. Okay, I'm not going to say anymore because I'm losing now. Excellent, but I think that's been it. There you go. I think, because if I was have the ultimate camera, and sometime I will upgrade my kit, I would actually go for mirrorless. But I'd go for the medium format ones, the large sensor size ones. Like like
GFX 100,
GFX ones, or Hasselblad, something like that. Yeah. Something not just the fact that the camera's upgrading, but the sensors upgrading.
Yeah, that Hasselblad XD2 looks a fantastic camera.
They do. They always have been. All the whole digital Hasselblads have all been excellent. They've all slightly very low ISOs, but I think that would be my next move for me if I were to go down that route. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Anything else to add?
No, I don't think. Not unless you want me to win another point.
No, I don't. I think we're going to finish it there.
Because you're not even talked about in-body stabilization yet. You see.
When you do, okay, let's not. Okay, we won't, because it's going to start another thing. But I want would you call the iPhone a mirrorless camera? Because that's obviously the most ubiquitous camera there is.
It's really interesting. I would say it's the iPhone is more computer generated.
Yeah,
It
it's
creates
definitely
more computer
computer,
generated
but
images.
yeah,
So yes, it doesn't have it doesn't have a mirror, but it does have a sensor. The sensor's incredibly small,
very small.
but um, um, I would think the image that comes out of it is more computer generated.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
has to be
yeah, it
to be able
has
to
to
get
be.
anything decent.
Exactly right. It has to be. Okay, let's leave it there, Paul. Thank you so much for being a great guest. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me on.